King Minos ruled the island of Crete. He was a very greedy monarch. He tried for years to conquer the Greek city of Athens. Eventually, the people in Athens ran out of food and they surrendered. The victorious king demanded as tribute 7 boys and 7 girls every year. They were to be sent to Crete to be fed to his Minotaur, a half-bull, half-man beast which he kept in his labyrinth under the city. No one had ever made it out of this labyrinth alive. 3 years after Athens surrendered, the Athenian prince Theseus had had enough. "I am going to Crete this year, and I will kill this Minotaur once and for all." His father, King Aegeus, was very worried. "If you must do this, Theseus, promise me, on your return voyage, you will put white sails on your ship. That way I will know you're alive when I see the sails." So Theseus boarded the ship for Crete along with 13 other unfortunates. When they arrived, the princess Ariadne fell madly in love with the handsome and dashing young prince. In the middle of the night, Ariadne crept out of her room and found Theseus. "Theseus, if I help you escape the labyrinth, will you promise to take me back to Athens as your wife?" Theseus agreed. So Ariadne gave him a ball of string. "Take this string, tie one end of it to the entrance of the labyrinth, unwind the rest as you walk through. Then you can follow it back and leave." The next day, Theseus was led to the start of the labyrinth. He hunted for the Minotaur. He walked through the twisting, turning passages, making sure to leave the trail of string behind him. Suddenly he heard a terrifying snort, and the beast charged around the corner. The Minotaur had the body of a huge man and the head of a bull, complete with long, curved horns. Theseus drew his sword. The Minotaur was strong, but it could not move as quickly as Theseus. It was a very narrow passage, and the Minotaur was a big creature. Theseus darted behind the Minotaur, and he swung his sword with all his might, and the Minotaur fell dead. King Minos was furious. These evil kings hate to have their plans thwarted. But Theseus took Ariadne away with him, planning to marry her when he got back to Athens. During the voyage, however, the god Dionysus spotted Ariadne, fell in love with her, and took her as his wife. Theseus had no power over a god, but he was devastated to lose his bride-to-be, and in his grief he forgot to put the white sails up on his ship. As he sailed into Athens, the father, looking out over the seas, saw black sails. Thinking his son was dead, the king threw himself on the palace walls. Theseus returned, having freed his people, but having lost the one he loved the most. Minos was enraged at the loss of both his little pet Minotaur and his daughter. Looking for someone to blame, he remembered the inventor of the labyrinth, Daedalus. Minos had brought Daedalus to Crete to design this complicated maze, but now it was useless. So, as a punishment, the king forbade Daedalus and his son Icarus from leaving Crete. However, Daedalus was a very clever man after all he had designed for the labyrinth. With the help of his son, he went in search of as many discarded feathers as he could find. They were all colors and sizes that they gathered together. He used beeswax to stick the feathers together. Once he had finished, Daedalus held up his handiwork and showed it to Icarus. He had made 2 giant pairs of wings. "We can use these to fly away from the island. We will be safe." Icarus was filled with the excitement of the idea of flying. But his father cautioned him, "Whatever you do, don't fly too close to to the sun. The heat will melt the wax, and your wings will fall apart." Daedalus and Icarus put on their wings and began to run, flapping their arms. Soon their feet left the ground. As they flew into the sky, they saw Minos gazing up at them with anger and horror. They laughed at him. Their joy was short-lived, however, for Daedalus flew calmly, gliding over the sparkling sea, but Icarus was eager to test his wings. In his excitement, he forgot his father's warning. Icarus swooped and soared, flying higher and higher. He did not notice that the wax which held his wings together was beginning to melt in the heat of the sun. He began to fall. "Icarus!" his father yelled when he saw what was happening, but it was too late. Icarus splashed into the waves below and died, leaving his father to fly home alone.